The cart's been put before the horse. Come out and talk to people who live it, know it. Like, I don't go to Melbourne and stand on a box and tell people what to do. But sadly, that's what's happened in this case. People come out from Melbourne, desktop studies, this is how we're going to do it. Tell the people. Well, no wonder people got their backs up and they don't understand it. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to get any traction out of anywhere, we're going to have the minister and the advisors to sit down with the people who know the area. I don't go away and tell people in 50 mile away from here what they should be doing. And I haven't really got a lot of time for people come and tell me what to do.
3, 2, 1.
So we'll finish up with a video done by a friend, Anita, from Let's Get Rural, who stood at the gate with Colin, an 83-year-old farmer, who is not going to allow access, but is willing to explain in clear detail the unnecessary angst that Iberdrola, VicGrid and the government is causing. You'll hear it again. 3 years, no communication, no consultation, no listening, just demands. So let's have a look at that one.
So basically all we're doing here today is just trying to facilitate access for the ecological surveys. You would have received a notice of proposed entry on the 3rd of March this year. Have you received that?
Yeah, I just got a communication from my liaison officers. You guys have done everything right up to date, no worries.
Thank you, appreciate that. And I'll just confirm again, you are Colin Fenton, the landowner.
You need to see some ID?
No, you don't have to show it. I believe you. Thank you. And I'm just going to ask, you are going to allow access today?
No, we're not going to allow access today.
No, that's okay. Do you want to provide any reasons why?
Yes. I think we need to go on a history lesson here. The property that's over my shoulder, did everyone hear me? No. The property over my shoulder here was purchased 102 years ago by my late father, who was 19 at the time. He'd lost his father, and this was his first property he ever bought. Interesting that it was cleared with an axe. One of the things that I think we've lost the plot in this particular farm is that there's obviously Aboriginal artefacts there, because the property straight east of there used to be in our family ownership by my late brother, and I actually assisted him in clearing the property back in the 1950s, and definitely saw Aboriginal middens there. So we, back in those days, no one got too excited about that sort of activity, so we laid it out to irrigation like I've done here. I guess one of the big issues we've got here is that if you were to go ahead and do what you want to do, this property here will become unviable in the sense, you're standing right in the path of where the easement is, so therefore we can't get access to our farm because that's the only occupation crossing we've got. So that's fine. We go down the channel a bit further, we get Gold Murray Water to spend $100,000 and put another occupation crossing in. Then we go to Vic Roads to get access out on the bitumen road, so that's another heap of money. And then we're going to finish up with a lucent stand, which costs hundreds of thousands, well, not thousands of dollars, but hundreds of dollars, the minimum to establish, and time. It takes about 4 years from when you laser a paddock till the lucent's at its peak production. So the loss of production now, I think it's very interesting. A previous liaison officer who has left VicGrid came here one day with me, and we had a stand at the gate here, and I explained everything to him, and he said, I'm not sure where we're going with all this, because he said, quite obviously you're going to have to relay it all out if we go through there with a line. But he said, I will compensate you, so we'll just give you more money. So while we're talking about compensation, I think one of the biggest, whether it's an insult, people can take whatever way they like. The first bit of money they offered me to have the power lines put here gave me this fee that you people would pay for Lee to go in and have a look. And because I objected to it, that's been raised 4 times, nearly 4 times. Now, I'm sorry, but I'm 83 years old, and I've seen some pretty tough times in Victoria or Australia. And I can't understand how people have gone to sleep and let this spending of public money just go on uninhibited. It is just outrageous. And I ran the story this morning where Mick told me yesterday or the other day at our CRG meeting in Charlton how what I've suggested is that you go down our boundary fence in a straight line. And every farmer has said the same thing. We can't operate with going angleways through our farms, whether it's dry land or irrigation. And Mick Duke said, oh, we can't run them straight because there might be a house close to the line. I accept that. But then he told me that the costing is between $3 and $5 million per tower. Now, who's pulling whose leg? How could it possibly cost between $3 and $5 million for one tower? So that's an issue. Moving on from that, if, say for example, I did give you permission today, would you actually go onto our property here and what would you do?
Yeah, so that is a great question. So basically what we'll do is we'll have the ecologists come forward. They will meet you and they will do is...
No, but you haven't got an ecologist with you today.
No, we do.
You
So
do.
not here right now, but they're in a car waiting if you provide access, and they'll come introduce themselves, show you their identification. They'll do a full biosecurity washdown. So they'll come clean, they'll stay clean while on your property, then they'll leave clean, and you'll be able to document it all, and they'll document it as well. They'll come on, they'll make sure they're doing the right thing, and I'm going to be here. So with my colleague Alex, we're going to be here to make sure they're only doing what they're proposed to do, and you can be there with us. So that's the fantastic thing, is you get to be there, and if you think you're not happy with it, we get to call it. We have the decision to call it, and so do you. So if you let us on, we'll come do the surveys, we'll check the easement, the ecologists will check patches, they'll check what's native, what's not, they'll take some photos of only what they're supposed to take photos of, and then they'll do a report and they'll present that to you and also to VicGrid, and then that will determine whether the easement is suitable for your property or if it has to be thought through further down the line.
So you're aware there's already an easement in there?
I'm sure bits about that, so obviously they take these things into consideration. But I'm sure you may be attached aware of that too.
So what's your comment about the fact that there's got to be Aboriginal artefacts?
So the ecologist team, they also have they have archaeologists on their team, and they can come do cultural heritage checks, and also the VNI West team have contractors who are cultural heritage trained, and then if they do find anything, they'll flag it, and then further surveys would have to be conducted with your consent to make sure that that's all documented and put in the process for this EES statement.
Or would you like to comment on the block straight over that we used to own, where I know there are things? What's been the outcome of that?
We're here just to talk about the access today, but yeah, keep having.
But you've obviously got permission for the next farm on, no?
We're not going to make comment on who's.
No, right, I could do that.
Obviously, same discussion with yourself. If we reach agreement, we'd have to disclose that with them.
Yep, right.
It stays between you and VicGrid VNI West.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty passionate about where we're at. My father cleared a block of land with an axe, so I was brought up with a pretty strong back. So what I'm suggesting to VicGrid, that's where we're coming from. We're what we term soul of the earth people. I've never been in strife for the law in my 83 years, and I think here we are, days away from Anzac Day, and I'm quoted this morning evenly that there are people that are my neighbours that went to the Second World War and some didn't make it home. If they were to be seeing what's going on here today, they'd wonder why they went to war, to defend, because at the end of the day, if they hadn't defended, you guys wouldn't have been standing there and we wouldn't have been standing here. So I've got to give you respect for how you've conducted yourself. I'll give you that respect. But my message is that our consultation has been zilch. We're really, from a CRG point in Charlton, for 3.5 years questions have been asked, and we're not getting the answers back. We've got devaluation. The shires have finally woken up. You're going to get resistance from the shires when they wake up what's happening with their valuation of the land, and you won't have just us group here, you're going to have other ratepayers are suddenly going to wake up. For example, this property here, what's happened is the valuation of this has dropped 25% because according to the land valuer, and I don't think he was telling Joey's, what they did was they measured up the area of land and they devalued that to zero because they said, well, you can't use it. And if you people took it by compulsory acquisition, we don't even own it anymore. So the amount of money Shire rates are going to drop in the Gannawarra Shire on 98 assessments is going to be considerable. And then suddenly people are going to wake up, hang on a minute, I'm going to have to pay more for my rates because of these farmers and the power lines. Well, it wasn't the farmer's fault that you come through. So I went one step further and I went straight to 2 real estate people in Crang and I said, look, I'm sick of this arguing. The point I'm 83, I'm bloody out of here. What about selling me properties? And they looked at me and said, you're wasting time. We've got 2 properties over at Charlton we've been trying to sell for 12 months. People will not purchase land anywhere near where there's power lines. And you can go over what I said this morning and no doubt, well, there's an example, look at that. That sort of stuff won't get produced if we downsize our area of land. And I made the comment, 8% of our land mass, our arable land mass, and there's a big difference between arable land mass and bloody trees like over there in food production. We're not going to be worrying about the lights going out. We're going to be worried about where your next meal comes from. And the sooner the people realise that, the better. So I'm in my sermon, really.
No, well, thank you for your time there, Colin. Like that's great. You explained it really well, so I appreciate the good conduct on your behalf as well. Similar to this morning with my colleague that you would have spoken with, I do have to go through the next process, which is issuing a formal warning, just that it is an offence to not allow access for the survey today, under Section 93 of the Electricity Industry Act 2000. And I now have to direct you to open up the gate.
Yep.
Will you open up the gate and allow access to
No, I won't open the gate. I think I've made the point pretty clear there.
Yep.
Look, we're not aggressive people, and what I'm just trying to promote, that for God's sake, the minister should be aware that we want to sit down and discuss what our concerns are. We're not getting to the table to discuss it. Look, the minister, if it had anything between her ears, and no disrespect to her, but if she had anything between her ears and her advisors should be saying, look, there's a major issue in Victoria, let's go and talk to the people. I've got people sitting that are in here that sit on the committee with me and they'd only be too happy to sit down at the table. It might take forever. I've been through a lot of debates in my career where you start off miles apart and at the end of the day there's a bit of bloodletting on both sides and you get to somewhere where we've got to go. And that's what I'm hoping will happen in this case.
Thank you. You make really good points.
Irrigation land is a totally different ballgame to dry land in that there are fixed charges on delivery shares on irrigation land. So it would be fair to say out of those 98 assessments between here and Maribit, from here to Maribit anyway, they'd be all irrigation farms who've got a fixed charge. So what I'm saying is if that land was acquired compulsorily and you take it over as the Crown does, there'll be a fixed charge on an annual basis to Gold Murray Water. And what I'm saying is that those charges are going to have to be picked up by the government because of the loss of revenue, which will be considerable, because the people are certainly not going to stand by and say, well, hang on a minute, I'm paying delivery shares on a bit of Crown land. So, but nobody, I asked Mick the other night and he looked at me and didn't understand what I was on about. So what I'm trying to say is the cart's been put before the horse. Come out and talk to people who live it, know it. Like I don't go to Melbourne and stand on a box and tell people what to do. But sadly, that's what's happened in this case. People come out from Melbourne, desktop studies, this is how we're going to do it. Tell the people. Well, no wonder people got their backs up and they don't understand it. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to get any traction out of anywhere, we're going to have the minister and her advisors to sit down with the people who know the area. I don't go away and tell people in 50 mile away from here what they should be doing. And I haven't really got a lot of time for people come and tell me what to do. So if you're finished, that's okay. You can be excused.
No, thank you for your time.
Yep.
Thank
No
you.
worries.
Thank you.
Colin says it all, mate.
Yep.
I mean, these farmers, what they're being put through is criminal, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely criminal. Yeah, so stand together, Australia. Stand against this disgusting behaviour where our government, that's supposed to represent us, and he's out there representing some Spanish international,
Yeah.
has taken the side of a corporation to seize land from farmers. And we're not talking a little bit of land, right? In some cases, we're talking hundreds of acres
Yeah,
from single farmers.
Seriously, it's seriously not right. I mean, that bloke's 83.
Yeah.
His dad got the land when he was 19 from his father, was it?
Yeah.
And now they want to basically put these like you said, somebody from the city has went, that's where we're going to put it. Regardless of what these people have to say, we're just going to put it there. Because that's the best line.
That's it.
That's the cheapest way.
Cheapest way.
We're just going to do that. Regardless of what they want, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. And I think that's what it is.
25% of property loss in valuation. That's disgusting, mate.
I know. The fact he was willing to sell it and just get rid of it because he wants to freaking enjoy the last years of his life.
Yeah.
And he can't even do that.
No, he's backed into a corner. He can't sell it if he wants. Colin's 83. His wife Mary is 81. Yeah, they can't sell their property. No one wants their farm. He doesn't want to just let these people onto his land. Yep. Other farms near him have been on the market forever. You wonder why he feels down and a bit hopeless, mate.
Yep.
Shame on you, shame on you, Lily DeLulu. Get out there and talk to these people. All they want is communication.
Yeah. Like he said there's a little bit of bloodletting from both sides. You come, you meet, and you give a little bit, and you give a little bit away, and you come to some agreement that you can both suffer and agree.
Yep.
But that's just not happened here, is it?
At least have these towers, if they're going to run them through the farmland, at least try and find a route that is as close to boundaries as possible.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, it staggers me. They haven't, and maybe that's not the solution. Colin sort of hints at that it is. But, yeah, it just staggers me that nobody has consulted with those that live in the area.
It's quite apparent. They do not give a shit.
They don't.
About any of these farmers or their land.
No.
All they care about is going, that's where we're going.
Yep.
We've got to get this point to that point.
Yep.
Quickest, cheapest, easiest way.
Yep.
And they've went, fuck the farmers, we're doing that.
Yep.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yep. That's exactly what's happening.
And it's shit.
It is. It's
Serious.
absolutely shit.
Really shit.
Yep. So there you go, everybody. Stick with them on their fight. Support them where you can. And when they do come down to Melbourne, which I think they'll do later in the year as the election gets nearer,
We got to go.
we'll be there.
Definitely.
And we're going to have to give Ben a buzz and get up and support him, mate.
Yep. Well done.
For sure. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
See you later.